Hello, hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space. And a card combining an oldie but goodie favorite with some of the new, or a couple of the new products from Simon Says Stamps Always There release, one of which I've already used at least a couple times, I think, in videos. So, everything I used will be listed and linked in the description box below the video. In the end screen, I will link to a couple other videos I did using this stamp set. It's a good one. You guys know me and my florals. So I'll have links to those in the end screen. My links to products are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links and end up placing an order, I do get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. That's what helps keep the lights on, pays the bills, enables me to keep bringing out content. And yeah, let's get into making this card. So the oldie but goodie set I'm using is the Hibiscus Blooms stamp and coordinating die set. This came out a few years ago, and like I said, I did a couple videos on it. I'll link those in the end screen. And then when I was digging through my stamps the other day, I came across this set again. And I was like, I need to play. It is, well, you guys know, I love me large florals and hibiscus. Love. So I took some Altenew hot press watercolor paper. I've used this many, many times in many videos. I've talked about it. Altenew's hot press watercolor paper is not, if you're familiar with hot press watercolor paper, theirs isn't like that. Most hot press watercolor paper has a very, very smooth finish to it, which as stampers, that sounds like that would be perfect. However, I have worked with hot press watercolor paper over the years, and I personally do not like it. I don't like watercoloring on it. It just colors, like the water sits weird on it, and it annoys me. It annoys me. But Altenew's hot press watercolor paper isn't like that. It's a little bit smoother, but it still has a bit of tooth and texture to it, like a cold press. So for me, it's kind of like the best of both worlds, and that's why I've been using it so much. So I use my anti-static powder tool. I stamped the image with VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink, and then coated it with clear embossing powder, melted it with my heat tool. I did try to see if I could flip the cardstock and stamp it twice on the same piece, but it was just slightly too wide to do that. So I just did it on two separate pieces because I wanted two of these florals. And then later on, I cut down and I just saved the excess watercolor paper for a future project, you know? And for my watercoloring, I'm using the Altenew Moody Brights watercolor compact. I've used their little compacts also in many videos. And for this one, I end up using all the colors because I can't help myself and I was having fun. So I'd put water into the different pans, and then I'm just transferring my colors over onto my palette here because, as per usual, I'm going to do some mixing to create the colors that I want because I was in the mood to do purple hibiscus. And I had looked up different, images, and the purple ones with the really deep, like berry red base, so pretty. All hibiscus are pretty, really. And like anything, you can do whatever colors you want. But as usual, I was in a purple mood, and I get a kick out of a lot of y'all that watch my videos, like the requests for more purple. That I love it. I love all the colors, but I do have a soft spot for purple. So anywho, I mixed up like a more orange shade with the peach shade, the red shade, and then I added a bit of the yellow. And then for my green, I actually mixed the green from the palette with the yellow just to create a little bit more of a little more vibrant of a green, a little closer to like a Kelly green. And then for my purple, I mixed the blue and the red shade, and then I'm actually going to add like more pink to it and putting like just extra on my palette, like the yellow, because I was like, I'm probably going to use that for the leaves, which I do, and I was really glad I did. And then purple, red and blue, within reason, mix purple. So added the blue, mixed it with a deep red shade, and then I'm actually going to add some of the pink to it as well. And I don't know why. I also love, like, I show this in a lot of videos. I like mucking around with my watercolors, inks, etc., and like, creating custom colors. It's fun. So yeah, I just kind of sat and mucked around with this and then added the pink to just cause. Just cause. So once I have the colors the way I want them, I can start watercoloring. And I'm only going to show some of the watercoloring and then I'm going to speed it up a lot. This didn't take like a super long amount of time, but I took my time with it and then I did the second panel in the exact same way. So for the petals on these florals, I went one petal at a time because they're quite large and because I'm mixing like two colors onto them. And I add clean water first and then I drop in the purple at the tips of the petals. And it's always, I love when the color's like moving when you're doing wet on wet like this. So added purple at the tips of the petals and then the deep like berry color right at the base. And then I would clean off my brush and I would go back and forth with the clean brush to like bring the colors together, to get them to meet and blend. And then I would repeat this over and over again for each of the petals. And it's things like this specifically why I like to heat emboss my stamped images before I watercolor, because the heat embossing with those raised edges keeps everything a little more contained. It's like my little bumper pads. It also helps prevent the color and the moisture from running into the next area. Because again, everything's contained. So I can go on to the next petal. I don't have to jump around. And yeah, biggest thing though is just the bumper pads for me. Because while I am very comfortable now with watercolor, I don't have that much patience. I really don't. So this just works. So I just kept working my way around, and I'm going to do this with the other two little hibiscus. There's a small hibiscus, and then the other open one, and then the tiny one there, like the bud at the top. That one I just painted with a little bit of purple. So I love how these ended up. Pretty much how I was picturing them in my head, which it doesn't always happen that way. And usually I just go with it anyway. But yeah, the purple and the red just worked. It just worked. So once I got all of the blooms done for the stamens is where I use that like orange mixture, and not a whole lot of anything with those, just kind of slapped it on for the most part. Such a small area, you can't really do a whole lot of blending, etc. So I just painted that on. And then for the greenery, I did the same thing, except with those, I would get like the leaves wet with clean water. I dropped in the yellow at the very tip of the leaves and then the green at the base, and then brought them together, and also like with barely any green on my brush would layer that over the yellow just to soften it a bit so it wasn't like yellow. You know what I mean? And it just gave that nice variation to all the greenery. And then same thing, I just repeated throughout the image. And then once I was done with this one, I did the exact same thing to the second panel. And yeah, and these images are large. You're going to see when I finish this card, because I make A2 size cards most of the time. So 4¼ by 5.5 inches. And just this one image alone takes up most of a card, really. So when they were done and dry, I die cut them with the coordinating wafer die. Once these were die cut, I took a alcohol marker and filled in all of the white space. I don't always do this. It depends on my mood. It depends on what I'm creating, what have you. I knew I wanted to do a really, really dark background for these, and I didn't want the outline to really stand out. I wanted to kind of just blend in. So I took, in this case, I used an OLO marker. Again, any marker would work, but this is an OLO 1.8, a G 1.8. So just really, really dark green. And yeah, the thing to remember, I've talked about this in the past with alcohol markers specifically. I don't use my alcohol markers to do actual coloring on things like watercolor paper. You can do whatever you want. Watercolor paper, being as absorbent as it is, if that's all you ever used to color with the alcohol markers, just make sure you get a bunch of refills, because the alcohol will get like sucked up by the watercolor paper, because that's just the nature of watercolor paper. So I don't use it for coloring. For something like this, I was fine with, because I'm just doing these two images. I wasn't too concerned about it. And I tested out before I came and like started doing this image because I was a little bit concerned, but it didn't happen. That there was a chance that the watercolor paper could absorb so much of the alcohol marker that it would like bleed into the image, and that would look awful. But this was fine. Everything was good. It was good, you know? So I worked my way around. This didn't take very long. This is all sped up in editing as well. This did not take very long, like maybe 10 minutes, something. But I just took my time with it and just coated all that, and it just gives it a totally different look. So then for my background, this die cut is the Willowweave plate that's from Simon's latest release, the Always There release. And I had die cut it from Midnight Green cardstock, which is extremely dark. I've shown in other videos and done comparisons because like a lot of times when this is all you're seeing on screen, you just assume it's black. It's not. It's just the darkest green cardstock I own. I have never come across any that come even close to this, let alone darker than this. Like, it is dark and I love it. I love it so much. I have extra packs of backups because it's just fabulous. So I die cut that background from it. And then my card front is also a panel of the same cardstock because I do love like tone on tone just for texture, things like that. And I glued that to the background. And again, on camera, like on my filming camera, it doesn't show up as well, but you'll see it more in the finished photos. It's there. You can see it. It's so pretty. And then I didn't film. I thought I was filming as per usual. I didn't double check, but I had arranged the floral die cuts on the card front, flipped it over, used my pencil to just trace where the edges of the card were, and then put Big Mama foam tape where, like, inside those perimeters, and then adhered both of these to the card, trimmed off the bits hanging over the edge, and then I decided to use a couple of these pieces that I trimmed off just to fill in those two, like, more open corners. So once I had those, lined up, I just put little scraps of the foam tape on the back of these as well, and then tucked those in so that it was filled out, but then there you can still see it. Again, not so much on camera, but you can still see the background, the texture from the die cut. It's just, sometimes those subtle little bits just give it all that extra little something. So put that one little piece there, put the other one in the top corner just to like kind of finish off this card front. And then of course I'm going to add splatter because that's just what we do here. You don't have to. Could totally leave it off with this one. Like, it's gorgeous as is, but I like my splatter. So I put this into my splat box. I pulled out the white and the black Positively Perfect Splatter mediums, which always need to be stirred up. The pigment settles to the bottom of these. So stirred it up really, really well. And then used my fan brush. And with the white, I added quite a pretty heavy amount of splatter because I was really liking how nicely it stood out on like the really dark background and on these watercolor flowers. And I like the texture it gives. So good healthy dose of white splatter. And then clean off my brush. And I'm going to do the exact same thing with the black splatter, but I'm going to be quite a bit more light-handed with the black, at least for me. This is me being like light-handed with black splatter, So stir that up with the black. Like I always say, be very careful with this stuff. It is extremely pigmented. It will stain everything it comes in contact with. So just, I use it and then I put the lid on and I try to be very careful about like not knocking it over because I just do not want the mess. I've knocked the white one over and caused leaks, but the black one I've managed to so far. Knock on wood. Anywho, I set that aside to dry. And then on the inside of my card, which is a top folding A2 white note card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches, I put my card base inside my Misty. I lined up that stamp, and I have just a piece of copy paper. I keep a stack of that beside me as well, just random scraps, print offs, whatevers. And I put the copy paper in there. I inked up the stamp with Simon's Lilac Positively Saturated ink, stamped it onto the copy paper, and then without re-inking the stamp, stamped on the inside to get that second generation, so it's much lighter. And I actually do this twice just to give it a little more color without being too intense. Because while this is a light purple shade, it's still pretty intense. And on the inside of the card, it was too much. So by doing like the second generation of it like this, I still get, the pattern, the detail, but it's a lot lighter and a lot easier to write on top of without it distracting from what you want to write. And then for my sentiments, I'm using the CZ Design Classic Friendship set because I said when this was released, I was like, I will be using this one a lot. Like, so many good ones. A lot more sort of tongue-in-cheek sentiments as well, which I'm here for always. I love more like slightly sarcastic, sort of blunt, like those types of sentiments. Love it. That is my personality. But for this card, I didn't want to go super like punny, anything like that. I wanted it to just be sort of classic. So on the inside, I just used the little hope you are well sub-sentiment. Because for the front, I used the miss you sentiment from the set. And I had white heat embossed that onto scraps of the midnight green cardstock. And after I had heat embossed it with the white embossing powder, I die cut it with the coordinating wafer die. And then I die cut more scraps with the coordinating wafer die to build dimension. So I adhered one to the back of the sentiment and I trimmed down another piece just to kind of level everything out so that this will basically be mostly flush to the popped up florals, because I've got, all that dimension, because all those florals are popped up with the big mama foam tape. So I added that remaining little die cut piece that I trimmed down, added a little bit of the foam tape and some glue, and then popped that into place right there in that opening. It was like just meant to be. I kind of like when those things sort of happen, because there was other sentiments I wanted to use, but they were larger and they were going to cover up too much. And sometimes I don't care, but this time I was like, I can't do it. I want the flowers to show I painted these. So put the sentiment on. And then my final little embellishment is some Lilac Pawsitively Dazzling gems. And yeah, glued those into place with liquid glue. Let the glue dry. And this card is complete. So another dark Moody background, which, I don't know, I'm obsessed with them. They're so fun. And then these florals and the sentiment, a little bit of bling, whole bunch of splatter. And then just nice and simple on the inside. And that was the completed card. So, like I mentioned in the intro, I'll have links to all of the things in the description box below the video. If you just expand it, everything will be there. The link to the visual supply list, to my blog post, all of it will be down below. Thank you all so very much for hanging out with me, for thumbs upping and commenting. It helps a ton. I really appreciate it. And I will see you all very soon in another video. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!